The stars had always been calm in this part of the galaxy. The Galactic Empire had ruled this space for centuries, and no one dared to challenge its authority. Patrol ships glided silently through the void, scanners always active, and watchful eyes monitored every inch of space. But today the calm would end. In the command center of the Empire's capital, alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed across the room, casting eerie shadows on the worried faces of officers. Captain Loran's heart raced as he stared at the main screen. A massive object had appeared on the radar. It was not an asteroid. It was not a fleet of unknown drones. It was the human warship. The room froze. Humans were not supposed to be here. Not in this sector. Not in the Empire's space. Humanity had been distant, scattered across its own clusters, rarely interacting with the Empire. And yet here it was, a colossal warship moving boldly into forbidden territory. "Report," Captain Loran barked, his voice cutting through the tension. "Sir, it appears to be a human warship. Unknown class. Unknown capabilities. It jumped through hyperspace and bypassed our outer defenses," Lieutenant Zara replied, her voice trembling slightly. "Impossible," muttered Admiral Threx, leaning over the console. "No human vessel could make that jump without detection. This is unprecedented." The command center erupted in whispers. Panic spread quickly, but Captain Loran kept his voice steady. "All fleets, raise shields. Prepare for inspection. Do not engage unless fired upon. We need answers before war begins." Outside, in the vast emptiness of space, the human warship glided effortlessly. Its sleek design reflected the distant light of nearby stars. But there was something strange about it. It did not scan like ordinary ships. It did not move like ordinary ships. It seemed alive. Back in the capital, the Emperor's private council chamber was buzzing. Advisors and generals had gathered in emergency. The Emperor, a tall figure draped in dark robes, listened silently as arguments erupted around him. "We must destroy it immediately," one general shouted. "It is a threat to our sovereignty." "No," countered another, her voice calm but firm. "We do not know its intent. Humans may be peaceful, or smarter than we think. A mistake could start a war we cannot win." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "And if we do nothing?" he asked softly. "If we allow a human warship to roam freely in our space." "Chaos," muttered a senior advisor. "Our colonies will panic. Our fleets will be paralyzed. This is a breach we cannot ignore." Meanwhile, the human warship's communication system activated. A single line appeared on every Empire screen. "We come for peace. Or war." The words were simple, but the meaning was heavy. The council froze. Murmurs filled the room. Was it a threat? Was it a warning? No one could tell. Captain Loran ordered a scout fleet to approach. 4 sleek Empire vessels jumped into position, their engines glowing brightly against the dark backdrop of space. The human warship did not retreat. It did not respond. It simply drifted, a silent giant in the void. "Scanning for weapons," Lieutenant Zara reported. "All readings are unusual. Energy signatures unlike anything we have seen before." Admiral Threx frowned. "Impossible. Humans could not have technology capable of this. Are our sensors faulty?" Suddenly the scout sent a signal back, then vanished. All 4 ships disappeared without a trace, as if swallowed by the void. The command center went silent. Every officer stared at the screen, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Captain Loran's hands shook slightly as he muttered, How is that possible?" The Emperor's eyes burned with a mixture of curiosity and anger. "Prepare the main fleet," he commanded. "If humans intend war, we will show them the full strength of the Empire. But be cautious. Something tells me this is no ordinary human vessel." Across the galaxy, in secret, humans aboard their warship watched the Empire's fleets mobilize. Their commander, a tall figure in simple silver armor, studied the holographic displays of the approaching ships. "Keep your composure," the commander said calmly. "They do not understand us yet. Our mission is clear. We are not here to provoke war, unless they force it." A young human officer leaned forward. "Commander, do you think they will attack?" The commanders shook their head. "No, they are curious, scared, and full of pride. Curiosity will keep them cautious for now. Pride may be their downfall." Back in the Empire, colonies across the sector began reporting unusual phenomena. Energy spikes, sudden blackouts, strange lights in space. Panic spread like wildfire. Citizens demanded protection. Governors sent urgent messages to the capital asking for answers. In the command center, Captain Loran studied the human warship. It had not moved aggressively. It had not fired. Yet the sheer presence of the ship created fear. It was a symbol of human defiance, a statement that the galaxy was no longer theirs alone. "Sir," Lieutenant Zara whispered, "they're waiting for us to act." Captain Loran nodded slowly. "Then we act carefully. One wrong move and this could ignite a war that none of us are ready for." As the sun rose over the Empire's capital planet, the human warship hovered silently in orbit, a dark silhouette against the light of the stars. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire felt fear. Somewhere deep inside the ship, the humans prepared for what was coming, and somewhere deep inside the Empire, leaders prepared for war they never imagined. But no one knew the full truth. Not yet. A single signal still echoing across the Empire's networks remained. "We come for peace, or war." And with those words, the galaxy changed forever. The Empire's capital was tense. Every street, every tower, every control center hummed with fear and confusion. The news of a human warship in forbidden space had spread faster than wildfire. Citizens whispered of rebellion, fleets scrambled to ready weapons, and the Emperor's advisors argued endlessly about what to do next. In the Grand Council chamber, the Emperor sat silently on his throne. His robes draped like shadows around him, and his eyes burned with a mixture of anger, fear, and curiosity. Before him, the Empire's greatest generals and advisors shouted over one another, each insisting their plan was the correct one. "Destroy it," shouted General Kuran, slamming his fist on the table. "We cannot allow humans in our space. One strike and the threat is gone." "Patience," countered Counselor Vera, her voice calm but sharp. "We do not know their intentions. A hasty attack could start a war that destroys us. We need to understand why they are here." The Emperor raised a hand and the room fell silent. "And if they are here to destroy us?" he asked softly. "If we hesitate, what then?" No one answered. The room was heavy with tension. Meanwhile, outside the council chamber, the Empire's fleet scrambled into formation. Ships of all sizes raced toward the coordinates of the human warship. Engines flared, shields activated, and laser turrets rotated into position. But even with all the preparation, no one felt confident. Captain Loran stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the stars streak past as they moved toward the intruder. "Sir," Lieutenant Zara said nervously, "our sensors still cannot identify their weapon systems. They are unlike anything we've seen." "Then we must assume the worst," Loran replied, "and prepare for it." Back in the council chamber, a new voice spoke. It was Advisor Mullen, a quiet man who rarely raised his voice. "Your Majesty, reports from our colonies indicate unusual activity in human space. Strange energy readings, sudden jumps in population, and experimental ships unlike any Empire design." General Corrin scoffed. "That proves nothing. They are humans. Weak, unorganized. They cannot challenge us." Advisor Mullen shook his head. "Perhaps. But this warship, it is different. The speed, the energy signature. It suggests they have technology far beyond what we anticipated." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Far beyond what we anticipated, or far beyond what we understand." A comm officer suddenly ran in, breathless. "Sire, the scout fleet we sent toward the human warship, it's gone. All 4 ships vanished, no signal. No debris, nothing." The room froze. Even General Kuran, always brash and confident, looked pale. "Gone?" whispered Counselor Vera. "Completely?" The officer nodded. "Completely. It's as if the ships never existed." A heavy silence followed. For the first time, fear replaced anger in the council chamber. The Emperor leaned forward, his voice calm but deadly. "Then we are facing not just humans, but something we do not understand. We cannot act blindly." Outside the chamber, fleets continued to move. Every commander felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on them. A fleet captain spoke to his crew over the intercom. "Keep alert. Do not engage unless ordered, and whatever you do, do not underestimate them." Meanwhile, in a hidden observation post, a small team of spies watched the human warship carefully. Screens showed strange energy fluctuations, mysterious lights, and brief bursts of movement inside the vessel. "They're preparing something," whispered one spy. "I don't know what, but it's big." The Emperor's council debated late into the night. Every plan had flaws. Attack could provoke war. Delay could risk invasion. Diplomacy could fail. and no one could predict human intentions. Finally, the Emperor spoke. "We will not strike first. We will observe. We will understand, but every fleet in our space will remain ready, every planet fortified, every system prepared, and someone," he paused, eyes scanning the room, "someone will discover what the humans are planning before it is too late." In the human warship, the crew watched the Empire's response unfold. Their commander smiled faintly. "They are afraid," the commander said. "They do not understand us. That fear will be their weakness and perhaps their strength." A young human officer asked nervously, "Commander, what if they attack anyway?" The commander's gaze was calm, almost serene. "Then we defend ourselves. But for now they hesitate. And that hesitation gives us the advantage." Back on the Empire's capital, fleet stood ready. Citizens waited in fear. The council argued endlessly, and the human warship floated silently in space, a silent challenge that no one dared touch. But one thing was clear to everyone. The galaxy would never be the same again. And in the shadows of the Emperor's council, a small thought began to take root. What if humans were more than just a distant, weak species? What if this single warship was the beginning of a force capable of toppling the Galactic Empire itself? The night ended with that fear lingering in every mind, like a shadow that refused to fade. The Empire's capital was a hive of unease. Every command center, every fleet station buzzed with tension. The disappearance of the scout ships haunted every officer, every general, and every citizen who heard the news. No one had ever seen anything like it. How could 4 entire fleets vanish without a trace? Captain Loran stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the empty void where the scouts had disappeared. The screens were silent except for the blinking dot of the human warship, calm and unmoving. Lieutenant Zara's fingers flew across the console. "Sir, we've received a transmission from the human vessel. It's unusual. They're sending a message directly to the Empire." Loran's eyes narrowed. "Put it on the main screen." All channels open. The room went quiet. On the large display, a single line of text appeared in glowing letters. "We hold the key to your survival." The words were simple, but their meaning was heavy. The council, watching remotely, gasped. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some were confused. Some were scared. Some were furious. "What does it mean?" shouted General Corrin. "Survival? Are they threatening us?" Counselor Vera shook her head slowly. "It could be a warning, or a promise. We cannot be sure, but it is a challenge, and we must treat it as such." The Emperor's eyes burned with intensity. "Prepare a fleet to meet them in neutral space," he commanded. "But send envoys first. We must learn what they mean before the entire Empire is destroyed by panic and fear." Back on the human warship, the crew monitored the Empire's response. The commander, a tall figure with calm but piercing eyes, studied the Empire's movements. "They do not understand us yet," the commander said softly. "They are frightened by the unknown. That fear will make them cautious. But it may also make them reckless." A young officer asked nervously, "Commander, do you think they will attack?" The commander smiled faintly. "Perhaps. Some may try, but the stronger ones will hesitate. And that hesitation is our ally." Meanwhile, fleets moved through the stars. The Empire's main ships approached the human warship cautiously, scanning for any sign of weapons or movement. Every crew member felt the tension, the uncertainty. They had trained for battle, but nothing in their training prepared them for this. Captain Loran watched the human warship silently. Its calm presence unnerved him more than any battle ever could. He whispered to Lieutenant Zara, "It's like they're waiting for us to act." Zara nodded slowly. "Yes, sir. But for what?" The Empire's envoys prepared to communicate with the humans. They crafted messages carefully, weighing every word. One wrong phrase, one wrong gesture, and the fragile balance could collapse into full-scale war. Finally, the communication channel opened. A human officer appeared on the screen, their uniform simple, their expression calm. "We come in peace," the human officer said. "But we are not weak. Your empire must understand that before it acts against us." General Corrin leaned forward, his fist clenched. "Peace, they are lying. This is a trick." Counselor Vera shook her head. "Or it is a warning. We must listen or we may regret our haste." On the bridge of the human warship, the commander spoke again. "Prepare for diplomacy. But remember, if they strike, we are ready. We do not seek war." but we will defend ourselves. Back in the Empire, the Emperor's Council debated endlessly. Some argued to attack immediately, to eliminate the threat. Others urged caution, to learn the humans' intentions first. Captain Loran knew one thing. The humans were more than they appeared. They had technology that could vanish fleets. They had tactics that no Empire officer could predict, and now they had sent a message that made the Empire question everything it thought it knew. Suddenly, sensors aboard Loran's ship picked up movement inside the human warship. Energy readings spiked, pulsing like a heartbeat. "Sir," Lieutenant Zara said, her voice tense, "there's something alive. Inside the ship. Something. Powerful." Loran's jaw tightened. "Keep your distance. Do not engage. Wait for orders. We don't know what we're dealing with." The human message echoed in the minds of every officer. "We hold the key to your survival." What did it mean? Was it a warning? A threat or an offer? No one could say. And as night fell over the Empire, the stars between the two forces seemed to hold their breath. The humans waited patiently. The Empire prepared, fearful and unsure. Somewhere deep in the human warship, the commander looked at the vast galaxy beyond. "Soon," they said softly, "they will understand. Soon they will see that humanity is not to be underestimated." The Empire did not know what was coming. But one thing was certain. The galaxy would never be the same again. The Empire's fleet advanced cautiously. Every ship's engines burned brightly against the darkness of space, but not a single shot was fired. Captain Loran's flagship led the formation, sensors scanning the massive human warship ahead. Its design was unlike anything the Empire had seen. Sleek, dark, and imposing, it floated silently as if it were part of the stars themselves. "Sir," Lieutenant Zara said nervously, "they are not moving, but the energy readings are rising. It's like they're waiting for us." Loran frowned. "Maintain distance. Shields up. Weapons ready, but do not fire first. We cannot afford a mistake." Back on the Empire's capital, the Emperor watched the approach via live feed. His eyes narrowed. "They are confident. Too confident. That warship is no ordinary human craft. We must learn what it is capable of, before it learns what we are capable of." The Empire sent a message through standard communication channels. "Human vessel, identify yourself. State your intentions." For a moment there was silence. Then, a human officer appeared on the display, standing in their sleek uniform, calm and composed. "We have come to observe and to warn. Do not mistake our presence for weakness. Your fleets are impressive, but they are not prepared for what is to come." The Empire Council buzzed with panic. Admiral Threx leaned over the console. "Do they threaten us openly?" "This is impossible. Humans cannot possess such arrogance." "They are not arrogant," Counselor Vera said softly. "They are confident. And confidence can be dangerous, especially when backed by power we cannot see." Suddenly, the human warship activated a device. A shimmer of light spread across the void, distorting space itself. Empire sensors went haywire. Energy readings spiked to impossible levels. The fleet staggered, shields flickering. "Shields down to 50%, yelled Captain Loran. What is happening?" The human officer's voice came calmly over the comm. "Do not fear. We do not attack yet. We wish only to make our presence known." The fleet staggered under the strange energy pulse, but no ships were destroyed. Every officer stared in shock. The human warship had shown its power without firing a single shot. "Sir," Lieutenant Zara said, "they are demonstrating technology, something beyond anything in the Empire's history. It is terrifying." Loran nodded grimly. "Yes, terrifying and brilliant. We must proceed carefully. Every action we take from this point will be critical." The Emperor's Council debated furiously. Some argued for diplomacy, others for preemptive strike. General Corrin's face was pale, his pride shaken. "We cannot wait. This is an act of war by its very nature." Counselor Vera shook her head. "No, it is a demonstration. They show us power, not aggression. If we misinterpret this, we may ignite the very war we fear." Meanwhile, inside the human warship, the commander observed the Empire's reaction. "They see our technology and fear it," the commander said. "They do not understand it yet. Fear is the first step toward respect or destruction." A young human officer asked nervously, "Commander, if they attack?" The commander's eyes were calm, almost cold. "Then we defend ourselves. But let us hope they act wisely. Captain Loran's fleet kept a safe distance. Every eye on his bridge was fixed on the human warship, every finger ready on a trigger, yet no one dared fire first. The humans had shown power, but they had not attacked. This is unsettling, Loran whispered. They are too calm, too confident, and that confidence makes them dangerous. For hours, the fleets faced one another across the void. Neither side moved aggressively, but the tension was palpable. Every officer on both sides knew that one wrong decision could ignite a war that would consume entire star systems. Finally, the human officer spoke again. Empire of the Stars, we do not wish to fight. But understand this, we are not weak. We are not naive. Any act of aggression will be met with force beyond your comprehension. The message hung in the air, heavy and chilling. It was not a threat. It was a warning. And in the Empire, doubt took root. The humans were no ordinary species. They had technology that could make fleets vanish, power that could disrupt shields, and confidence that unshackled fear from pride. Captain Loran looked out at the human warship. Prepare for the unexpected, he said quietly. Whatever they are planning, it will change everything we thought we knew about humans. And in the human ship, the commander smiled faintly. Let them think. Let them fear. Knowledge will come slowly, and when it does, the Empire will remember it forever. The Empire's capital was in turmoil. Panic and fear rippled through every sector. Citizens whispered rumors of human invincibility, while governors demanded explanations from the Emperor's council. No one could deny it. The human warship had shown power that challenged everything the Empire had built. Captain Loran's flagship remained in orbit near the intruder, fleet engines on high alert. Lieutenant Zara worked feverishly at her console. Sir, she said, pointing at the screen, their energy readings are shifting. They're reorganizing the power systems inside the ship. It's like it's alive. Adapting to our scans, Loran frowned. Alive or not, we need to understand it. Send drones closer. Analyze every system we can, but keep them safe. No unnecessary risks. Meanwhile, in the Emperor's council chamber, discussions had become urgent. Counselor Vera presented a report. Your Majesty, our scientists are studying the data from the fleets. We have confirmed what we feared. Humans have technology that can alter space-time locally. They can disrupt shields, confuse sensors, and move in ways we cannot predict. A murmur ran through the room. General Karan's face turned red with frustration. Impossible. No species should be this advanced. They're just humans. They are not just humans, Counselor Vera said sharply. They are the first species we have encountered capable of challenging the Empire directly. Their warship was not sent to attack, yet, but their presence alone forces us to rethink our entire strategy. Back on the human warship, the commander observed the Empire's activity. They are curious, the commander said softly. Curiosity is dangerous for them. They are studying us, trying to understand our power, but they will never fully grasp it, not yet. A young human officer looked worried. Commander, should we reveal more? Show them what we can do? The commanders shook their head. Not yet. Let them underestimate us. Let them think in their arrogance that they are safe. Only then will they learn the truth. In the Empire, fleets moved cautiously. Drones and probes approached the human warship, scanning and collecting data. But every attempt was met with strange phenomena. Some probes disappeared. Others returned with scrambled data. One drone even seemed to react violently to its own readings, sending out uncontrolled bursts of energy before shutting down. Sir, Lieutenant Zara said, her voice tight, their ship. It's changing. It's responding to us. Every probe, every scan, we trigger something new. It's not just a ship, it's a weapon, a fortress, maybe even a living entity. Captain Loran swallowed hard. Then we must be careful. Every move we make could provoke them, or worse, put us in their control. In the Emperor's Council, debates continued. Some advocated diplomacy, sending envoys to negotiate. Others demanded a full-scale attack to remove the threat before it became unstoppable. Counselor Vera raised her voice. Your Majesty, the humans are showing us our limits. They do not act out of arrogance. They act with purpose. If we strike first, we may destroy the fleets, but we will also unleash a force we cannot control. Patience and observation are our only allies now. General Corrin slammed his fist on the table. Observation will get us killed. We must act before they gain an advantage we cannot overcome. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "And what advantage would that be?" he asked quietly. "They have already shown us. Their technology, their strategy, their discipline, they have already gained an advantage. The question is, how far are they willing to go?" Deep within the human warship, a hidden lab hummed with activity. Humans worked in silence, monitoring the Empire's responses, analyzing their fleets, predicting their moves. The commander observed the calculations on the holographic displays. "They are predictable," the commander said. "Not in detail, but in panic, in pride, in fear, they are predictable. We can use that. Not to destroy them, not yet, but to teach them a lesson they will never forget." Back on the Empire's flagship, Captain Loran studied the readings. He whispered to Lieutenant Zara, "They're not just hiding technology. They're teaching us something, testing us. And every test, every probe, every scan, they are always one step ahead." Suddenly, the human warship broadcast a new message, this time longer, filled with subtle warnings and cryptic statements. "Your fleets are strong. Your weapons are impressive, but your knowledge is incomplete. Observe, learn, and perhaps survive." The Empire officers stared at the message, hearts pounding. This was not a threat. It was a warning. A challenge. "A puzzle," Captain Loran said quietly. "This is not just a ship. This is a test. And we are the subjects." And somewhere in the Emperor's council, Counselor Vera whispered, "We have underestimated humans for too long. The secrets of humanity may be the key to survival, or the key to our destruction." The galaxy held its breath. For the first time, the Empire realized that the humans were not only advanced, they were smarter, faster, and more disciplined than anyone had imagined. And as night fell over the capital, the human warship remained in orbit, calm and unyielding, a silent sentinel showing the Empire that the game had just begun. The Galactic Empire was on edge. Panic spread through every sector. Governors demanded answers. Fleets were in constant motion. Citizens whispered of the human warship's strange powers. Rumors of disappearing ships, strange energy pulses, and impossible technology had reached every corner of the Empire. Fear was everywhere. Captain Loran's flagship moved cautiously near the human warship. Lieutenant Zara studied the sensors, her brow furrowed. "Sir, their readings are shifting again. It's like they're predicting our moves. Every formation we try, they adjust before we can act." Loran's hands tightened around the console. "Then we must think differently. We cannot fight them as we fight others. Every fleet, every maneuver, must be smarter, faster." Across the Empire, fleets scrambled to defend planets. Soldiers trained for war, but anxiety gnawed at them. Commanders argued over strategy. Some wanted to strike first, to eliminate the human threat before it could grow. Others urged caution, arguing that one wrong move could start a war the Empire could not win. Meanwhile, the human warship was far from idle. Small fleets of human scout ships appeared in unexpected locations, creating confusion. Sensors detected sudden energy surges near key systems. Some colonies reported minor blackouts. Others saw strange lights in orbit. Humans were manipulating the battlefield without engaging directly. Back in the Emperor's council, arguments grew louder. "We cannot allow them to control our systems," General Corrin shouted. "Strike now before they gain more advantage." Counselor Vera responded firmly, "You do not understand. This is not a simple attack. Humans are teaching us something. They are forcing us to react without revealing their true plan. Every strike we consider, every fleet we move, they predict it. We must be patient." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. Patience, or hesitation. One mistake and the galaxy will burn. Captain Loran's fleet received another transmission from the human warship. The message was brief, almost serene. Observe, adapt, survive, or fail. The word sent a shiver through every officer. It was not a threat, but it carried a weight heavier than any weapon. It implied knowledge, strategy, and control beyond anything the Empire had encountered. "Sir," Lieutenant Zara whispered, "they're pushing us, making us anxious, forcing mistakes before we even know the battle has started." Loran nodded grimly. "They are playing with us. We must be careful. Every move counts." In the human warship, the commander observed the Empire's fleets. "They panic," the commander said quietly. "Fear clouds their judgment. Pride makes them predictable, and that predictability will lead them to the choices we want them to make." A young human officer frowned. "Commander, is it right to manipulate them like this?" The commander's eyes were calm. It is survival. And survival demands strategy. They do not know us yet. When they do, they will respect us, or regret underestimating us. As the night stretched over the Empire's capital, colonies reported more strange phenomena. Entire communication networks flickered with interference. Fleets lost brief contact only to regain it moments later. Panic intensified. The Empire realized the humans' reach was wider than expected. "Sir," Lieutenant Zara said nervously, "their strategy is not just defense, it's psychological. They are destabilizing us without firing a single shot." Loran swallowed hard. "Then we must remain calm. We cannot let them control our minds, only our fleets. Focus on the essentials. Protect the colonies. Observe everything." The Emperor's Council understood the danger. Humanity had revealed a terrifying truth. They were not merely a species to be conquered or ignored. They were disciplined, strategic, and willing to manipulate the battlefield in ways the Empire could not predict. And in the vast silence of space, the human warship hovered, patient and unyielding. Every action, every pulse of energy, every small maneuver forced the Empire to reconsider its power. Humanity's next move was unknown, but inevitable. Captain Loran whispered to himself, "They are not just a threat. They are a lesson. And we are being taught, whether we like it or not." The galaxy was poised on the edge of war. Humanity had shown its power, manipulated the Empire's strategy, and forced leaders to confront fear and uncertainty. One thing was certain: the final confrontation was coming. And when it arrived, the Empire would have no choice but to face the humans' full might. The galaxy was on edge. Every star system within the Empire's reach felt the tension. Fleets hovered in formation, engines glowing against the endless black of space. Soldiers gripped controls and weapons, knowing the moment of truth had arrived. Humanity's warship, calm and immovable, awaited them, an ominous shadow against the stars. Captain Loran stood on the bridge of his flagship, eyes locked on the massive human vessel ahead. Lieutenant Zara's fingers moved rapidly across the console. "Sir, all fleets report readiness. Weapons primed, shields at maximum, but they're not moving aggressively." Loran's jaw tightened. "That's what makes them dangerous. They don't attack blindly. Every move they make is calculated." On the human warship, the commander studied the Empire's fleets. "Patience," the commander said quietly. "The moment of decision approaches. We will not strike first unless necessary, but when we do, the galaxy will remember it." A young human officer asked nervously, "Commander, what if they attack simultaneously?" "They will," the commander said calmly. "But we are ready. Their aggression will only reveal their weaknesses. Observe, respond, and survive. Then victory is possible." Suddenly, a burst of energy erupted from the human warship. Shields across the Empire's fleet flickered. Communications distorted. A shockwave of unseen force pushed smaller ships off course. Officers gasped at the display. Loran's flagship shook under the invisible pressure. "They're testing us," Loran whispered. "Not attacking it yet, but showing what they can do." Then, without warning, the human warship split into multiple smaller craft. They moved with impossible speed, flanking Empire fleets from unexpected angles. Lasers fired from hidden turrets. Energy beams deflected by strange shields that shimmered like liquid light. Chaos erupted. "Enemy ships everywhere," yelled Lieutenant Zara. "Their numbers." "It's more than possible." The Empire's fleet scrambled, trying to regroup. Admiral Threx barked orders, but every maneuver was countered. Humanity's warship seemed to anticipate every tactic. Every move Loran's fleet made, the humans had already predicted, forcing the Empire into defensive positions. On the Empire flagship, alarms blared. "Hull integrity dropping! Shields failing on outer fleet. Do not panic!" Loran shouted. "Focus! Protect the colonies! Do not underestimate them." Meanwhile, aboard the human warship, the commander observed, calm and composed. "We fight to defend, not destroy. Strike only where necessary and show the Empire our power, but not recklessness." Small boarding craft deployed silently. A human team infiltrated key Empire ships, disabling weapons and systems without firing a single shot. Entire squadrons were left powerless, struggling to understand what had happened. "Sir," Lieutenant Zara gasped, "they've boarded ships. And they're not attacking physically, they're sabotaging our systems." Loran clenched his fists, impressive and terrifying. They are not just warriors. They are strategists, engineers, and soldiers all in one. The battle raged across the void. The Empire, for the first time, felt true fear. Fleets moved cautiously, trying to counter the humans' unpredictable tactics. Every victory for the Empire was met with a counterstrike. Every maneuver anticipated and nullified. Then, the human warship unleashed its ultimate power. A surge of energy cascaded across the battlefield, disabling the Empire's largest ships, forcing their fleets into retreat. Only the most agile and disciplined units survived. The humans had shown restraint, but the message was clear. They were the superior force, at least for now. Captain Loran stared at the remnants of the Empire fleet. "They're incredible," he whispered. "They don't just fight, they teach us, punish us for mistakes, and survive every time." The human commander appeared on the communications channel one final time. "The Empire is strong. But strength without understanding is weakness. Observe, learn, adapt. Only then can you survive the galaxy you claim to rule." Then, without warning, the human warship vanished from sensors, slipping silently back into unexplored space. The Empire fleet was left shaken, battered, and questioning everything it had known about humans. On the Empire flagship, silence fell. Loran and his crew stared at the empty spot in space, hearts pounding. They had survived, but only just. The humans had shown not just power, but intelligence, strategy, and restraint. The galaxy would never be the same. The Emperor's Council convened immediately. Counselor Vera whispered, "We have underestimated them. Humanity is no longer a distant species. They are a force to be reckoned with. Perhaps the greatest challenge we have ever faced." General Corrin clenched his teeth. "They have shown mercy for now. But the next encounter will not be so forgiving." Captain Loran looked at the stars, remembering the commander's words. Observe, learn, adapt. And somewhere, far in the uncharted regions, the human warship waited, patient and silent, ready for the next move in a galaxy that had just learned to fear the humans. The war had not ended. It had only begun.